welcome to KULTCHA Kombucha, where we authentically brew raw kombucha. We're Finn and Angela, and we're coming to you today from our craft brewery here in Taichung. About a year ago, and this is where the KULTCHA story starts, about a year ago we were sitting around a campfire on the east coast of Taiwan. All good stories start around the campfire. And our now friend and business partner Dave pulled out a bottle pretty similar to this and said, "Hey, do you want to try my kombucha?" We're sitting around this campfire and I taste my first sip of kombucha, and bam! That first sip of kombucha had the fizz, the flavor, the complexity, the viscosity, the bubbliness of a champagne, a beer. It just encompassed everything that was missing in the non-alcoholic beverage market. It ticked all the boxes. So I said to Dave, "Hey, you should sell this stuff." And he said, "Funny you should mention that." Honestly, it literally changed my life. Here we are a year later with, I believe, Taiwan's first raw kombucha authentic craft brewery. Kombucha is something that a lot of people are talking about these days, but surprisingly, not many people really understand what it actually is, right? To make kombucha, 3 key ingredients. The first ingredient is the live culture. All this white stuff that you see over here that Finn is guarding, along with our guardian dragon over there, that's the good stuff. That's the SCOBY, the symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. We have live, happy bacteria chomping away at good quality tea. They eat that tea and they produce a broad spectrum of acetic acid, probiotics, vitamins, and minerals. And that is the very heart of what kombucha is about. All that live culture and all the rich nutrients that we get out of a drink of kombucha.
Here at KULTCHA, we prefer to use green and oolong tea. The reason behind this is they are the 2 least fermented tea types. Now, the reason why we like this is because the KULTCHA eats those tea leaves, specifically the nutrients and chemical compounds found in the tea.
We are using good quality loose leaf tea, predominantly Taiwanese tea, because green and oolong are among the least processed. What that means is that they're the most nutrient rich, and the bacteria in the SCOBY gets its best food source from that low processed green and oolong tea. The second key ingredient is sugar. It's a bad word for many people, but there's good news with kombucha. The sugar that we inoculate the culture with is low percentage to begin with. So in the case of KULTCHA Kombucha, we don't start our ferments with anything more than 4.5 to 6% sugar content. Now, as the kombucha ferments, the yeast eats away at the sugar, reducing the overall sugar content. So in a finished bottle of KULTCHA Kombucha, you are looking at around 3.5 to 4% sugar per 100 ml maximum. So you get a low sugar drink. The other thing in the bottle is yeast. As the yeast eats the sugar, it converts it into ethanol. This is what promotes fermentation or alcohol. So about the alcohol, do you want to explain a little about the alcohol content?
Yeah, sure. So the yeast eats the sugar and converts it into ethanol. Now, this ethanol is actually consumed by the bacteria itself, and this process also produces natural carbonation.
We've just mentioned that there is alcohol production in the kombucha, but kombucha is a non-alcoholic beverage, not low alcohol, non-alcohol. You do get low alcohol kombucha beverages in the marketplace, but KULTCHA Kombucha is non-alcoholic. Your non-alcoholic options in the bars and nightclubs in Taiwan and anywhere in the world really are pretty limited. There's something missing when everybody raises their glass to say cheers and you have a Coca-Cola or soda water.
Cranberry juice.
Exactly, right? Not to mention a 400 NT mocktail. I've been looking, and it can't just be me. Everybody that is not having an alcoholic beverage in that cheers moment must be facing the same dilemma. What do you replace that ice cold, refreshing beer with? What do you replace that fine glass of wine with a good meal with? And really, it's how versatile kombucha is that opened the business plan for us. Not only can you brew just about any flavor you can imagine. We've had a year of flavor R&D.
And we haven't even scratched the surface.
How many flavors have we actually pinned down now to say they're good to go?
And down 12.
12. It's a combination of pairing the tea, or as we like to say, the energy and the power of the tea, pairing it correctly with the flavorings.
Another thing that goes into how we choose our tea is based upon a concept from traditional Chinese medicine, a balance of yin and yang energy. Every drink has its own signature of yin or yang. It's either dominant in one or the other, and the tea types also have constitutions of yin and yang.
Actually, on that note, our company name is Longden, which directly translates in English to dragon spit or dragon saliva, which we really love. The reason for that is in some Chinese mythology, there is the legend that the dragon saliva is an elixir of immortality, or at the very least, longevity. And that's what kombucha is. It really is a very revitalizing, refreshing, live, organic, healthy, delicious drink. If we are brewing a pineapple and ghost pepper kombucha, that's a spicy one. That's the kind of thing you might have in a 750 ml bottle of glow sipper. One of our favorites is the apple, cinnamon, and cranberry. That one we use a richer oolong, spice of the cinnamon, the apple, and then there's that bite, that aftertaste from the cranberry. So there's something about the fermentation process that really changes the character and the taste profile, and you get a very complex taste experience. A sip of kombucha travels through the taste buds, just like a good gin or a good wine would.
Prior to embarking on this journey, I had a deep passion for specifically coffee and later cocktails. Between my barista and mixology training, it felt quite natural stepping into the world of kombucha. At first I was very cocky because it's on surface level seems really straightforward. It's been quite a journey, going from knowing nothing about kombucha a year ago to now being master brewer in a commercial kombucha brewery. Anybody and their grandmother can make kombucha at home. When you upscale to the commercial level, there's many factors, such as monitoring alcohol content, being precise with the sugar levels, watching the health of the SCOBY, checking every square millimeter every day. It's a science.
As Finn was saying, it's a daily learning process, and one of the main reasons behind that is because we're dealing with live culture. And anything that is alive, as we can all appreciate, does not remain static. There is constant growth and evolution. So literally every day that passes, our cultures are growing and developing. This means that we don't have one set ratio of recipe that we apply to every batch. Every single vat, Finn has to get into the intricacies of where the acid levels are at, not just from a scientific point of view, it's a feel thing.
It's one part intuition and one part science. From batch to batch, it can vary greatly, depending on where my pH is at, how much sugar is left in the starter culture, because every batch is started with a little bit of the previous batch. They all feed into each other, quite literally. And so you have to adjust on the fly to that, and then what?
As a mother and son team, Finn often has no choice other than to follow where I'm leading. But luckily, on the nutrition and health front, that has led us to KULTCHA Kombucha, our personal interests really aligned very naturally.
Kombucha gives you a buzz and it makes you feel sharp, focused, but also relaxed, also energized in your body and mind. The fact that you're drinking live cultures, the drink itself is living. That in of itself will give you quite a boost, let alone the L-theanine compound found in kombucha, which is a mental stimulant.
That's coming from the tea mostly.
Yes, straight out of the tea plant. All of this ties in together to give you really quite a stimulating beverage. You won't feel bad, not the same way you'll get a hangover. You'll feel good the next day.
For us, what is really special about what we're doing over here is that we believe it's quite unique, where we are literally taking the glass jar kombucha making old school formula and translating it directly into a large-scale 20,000 litre at a time capacity craft brewery. That's difficult to do. We've had to undergo about 6 months of R&D just on custom brew equipment manufacture. So it's been a long journey. Together, we're on a journey of nutritional health discovery through the kombucha, which we are very inspired and impassioned to share. Our brewery is running now. We're about to bottle our first production run of kombucha that we will be distributing to our choice cafes, restaurants, bars and nightclubs around Taichung to begin with. So you can check us out on our social media, KULTCHA_TW, KULTCHA Taiwan on Instagram, or KULTCHA Kombucha on Facebook, www.kultchakombucha.com. There you will be able to find a listing of where we are available for public purchases and of course for wholesale customers.